Built in 1935, the Minneapolis Armory was the most important building to be constructed in the Twin Cities during the Great Depression. Today, the Armory is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. It was the most expensive single building in the state of Minnesota to be supported by a Public Works Administration grant, a President Franklin Roosevelt initiative. The building is the greatest example of PWA modern style in Minnesota, and arguably one of the most important examples of PWA modern in the country. The design is characterized by strong geometry, bold contouring, and integrated sculptural ornamentation. Armory construction pumped nearly $300,000 directly into local labor products and employed as many as 407 tradesmen at one time. All of the materials for the building were produced locally in keeping with the principles of PWA projects. Steelwork from Minneapolis, Twin Cities brick, granite from St. Cloud, and limestone from Mankato were all used in the construction. The Armory houses two of the few remaining examples of Federal Arts Project murals. The two 12-foot frescoed murals by local artists Lucia Wiley and Elsa Gemney still stand in the Armory lobby. At its peak, more than 27 units of the Minnesota National Guard and Naval Militia used the Armory for training and recreational purposes. 40-ton tanks were periodically run around the drill hall track, and the balcony was built out of the south wall to resemble the bridge of a battleship. In 1980, the National Guard suspended operations at the Armory site. From the late 1930s to the 1970s, the building was used for civic events, including trade shows, political conventions, concerts, and sporting events. The site was used for Golden Gloves boxing tournaments, professional wrestling matches, and the Minneapolis Lakers basketball games. In its heyday, the Armory played host to some of the greatest musicians of the time: Janis Joplin, the Rolling Stones, and Bob Dylan, to name a few. Minnesota native Prince and his fellow rockers from Aerosmith have both filmed music videos from within the historic walls of the Armory. In 1989, Hennepin County purchased the Armory as the site for a new jail. In January of 1993, the Armory was saved from the wrecking ball when the Minnesota Supreme Court ruled that the Armory was protected under the Minnesota Environmental Rights Act and could not be razed because of its historic status. In November of 1998, the Hennepin County Board agreed to sell the Armory to a private investor, who in turn converted the building into a parking garage. Two of the county's conditions of sale were that the owner must restore and preserve the historic structure and allow the county to maintain a Veterans Memorial Garden on the Armory site. The Memorial Garden was dedicated on May 24, 2001. Now, nearly 11 years later, it's time for the restoration to begin. As it was in 1935, the renewal of this historic treasure will bring much-needed work to local tradesmen and ensure that this remarkable example of PWA style will be enjoyed by future generations. The restoration will repair the barrel-vaulted roof and bring the space up to current fire and safety standards by equipping the building with flexible seating for concerts and sporting events. The project will include a boutique hotel with interior suites that overlook the event center and exterior rooms that line the green space on the perimeter of the site. The courtyard created will serve as an extension of the existing Veterans Memorial Garden and pay tribute to the men and women who trained in the space for nearly half a century. In recent years, the Minneapolis Armory has faded into the background of the city that has built up around her. Upon completion of the restoration, she will once again be recognized as a gathering place for the city of Minneapolis and the crown jewel of the Public Works Administration that brought her to life. Thank you for your interest in the Minneapolis Armory, and we look forward to seeing you there soon.